Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our live demo today. I'm so excited for you to see our flagship assessment solution. So over the years, we've added several recruitment solutions to the OutMatch platform, and we're even adding solutions on the post-hire side, including OutMatch Culture, which we're releasing early next year. But it all started with our assessment. So I wanted to make sure that all our customers, especially our newest customers from Launchpad, First Person, and Checkster, all had a chance to see OutMatch Assess and how it fits with other solutions on our platform. With me today, I have Stacy and Kellyanne. Stacy is our product expert and has been a big part of transforming the traditional assessment survey into something really slick and modern and candidate friendly. Kellyanne leads our client success team. If you haven't met her yet, you will. She's been supporting OutMatch Assess customers for years, and she's deeply invested in making sure all our customers are getting the most value from the tools they're using. If you have any questions during today's session, please chat in and we'll answer those at the end, or we'll follow up with you after. And if you hang on until the end of the session today, we'll let you know how you can learn more about OutMatch Assess or trying it for free. So now, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Kellyanne to get us started.
Great. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited for all of you to join the call today. And as Brianna mentioned, I'm excited to hopefully meet all of you in the future if I have not already. But for the sake of today and timing, we want to dive right in to kind of talk about assessment and really what I would call kind of the pivotal piece of our platform, kind of the glue that brings everything together. So from an assessment perspective and for all of our products, we really are an organization, as you already know, that really want to help you drive better people outcomes and using data and insights, and do that through the different modules we have, those that we'll talk about today and those that we've talked about already in a few of our webinars. For today, though, we'll really focus on assessments. We'll talk to you about why you want to use assessments. So if you've been a user of assessments, this may be a little redundant in some cases, but we'll highlight a lot around how OutMatch is different, how you might want to consider really leveraging our OutMatch assessment tool in combination with the other products you already have today. And then we'll go and really have Stacy walk us through a live demo. Stacy's going to dazzle us really with kind of the bells and whistles and the functionality and capability that go into the product to make it a lot easier, user-friendly, and just cohesive for you and your hiring managers. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about really what assessment is from an OutMatch perspective and really what it's put in place to do for you as an organization that's considering leveraging it in the future. So for us, when we really think about assessments, we know it can be a daunting discussion topic, especially if it's new for folks who have never even considered an assessment as part of their recruiting or selection process, or even as part of your post-hire process. So at OutMatch, we really want to take some of that thinking, those concerns, that kind of daunting experience, and make it much more simpler, easier for you to think about, easier for you and your hiring managers to understand, comprehend, and put into your practices. So when we set out to really talk about assessment, talk to our customers, it's about just three core pieces of what we focus on and what differentiates OutMatch assessment from other assessment providers in the marketplace. Those three key differentiators for us really starts with being simple. Simple from a user experience, simple from a candidate and your back-end experience. Really highly predictive. So making sure the science is smart. It's easy to understand, but it's smart in that we have scoring algorithms and over 900 plus profiles that already are pre-validated for you to use off the shelf. And knowing that that predictive capacity is really strong and constantly being monitored so that you have the best measurement in place for you and your organizations. And then I would say at the core of it, that third criteria is overarching this candidate experience. So we put a lot of time and effort both on the IT, the product, and the customer side to make sure that our product is engaging, dynamic for candidates to really go through the experience, feel as if they're getting something out of it, and also feel as if they're connecting with the platform and connecting with you, your organization, your brand at the same time. So it's a lot of things to think about, but at the end of the day, that's really what OutMatch stands for and stands apart from the rest. As part of the assessment platform, you get a comprehensive measurement that will give you really an overall understanding of a job match. Does this candidate fit that role and that specific role in terms of what success will look like? We also have additional add-on capabilities, ones that you can plug and play right into the assessment experience and get you an even more overarching view of not just the candidate's fit for the job, but also are they a fit for my culture? The organization, what makes that organization unique, and will this candidate fit that organization's culture? And then also the ability for some key roles at the professional level and up into leadership at the cognitive perspective. So measuring that candidate's intellectual horsepower. Do they have really the understanding from a critical and abstract reasoning perspective to be the right fit for the job? So all of these three measurements come into play where we really work with you to make it easy and simple to deploy and make sure we have a measurement that's really going to get you the right candidates at your fingertips. I mentioned some of this already, but really why OutMatch Assessment and why are we really the assessment product that we believe is the best fit for our customers and even for those future customers? For us, it's about, again, that dynamic candidate experience. We have a short and engaging assessment experience that takes anywhere from 7 to 16 minutes. 7 minutes for our frontline hourly high volume roles, maybe 15 to 16 minutes for our more professional, which have a more comprehensive measurement tool attached to it, given the level of that role. We have really strong completion rates. So those completion rates we attribute to that engaging experience. So you can see here on the screen, the experience incorporates images that really helps engage the candidate, bring them in, and resonate with kind of the question or statement we're asking on the screen. Puts them really into that position, that scenario. With that, we have those high completion rates. High at 97% of candidates who go through and take our assessment complete that assessment. Again, attributing to the experience and the time to complete. And then the two other pieces I would reference are really our agile profile process. That agile profile process, really what it does for you is it says we again have the ability to set you up on our pre-validated profiles, get you running almost immediately within 1 week time, even less in some cases, and then leverage your data over time to make a seamless process to make sure that our measurements further customize for you. But do that in a way that there's no lift on your side. We take all that lift and we do that customization work as we're continuing to kind of deploy the assessments. And then a turnkey ATS integration. We have integrations with numerous ATSs where we have already done that heavy lift in terms of certifying that ATS provider and making it available for you to use right off the shelf in almost as simple as a process as choosing your ATS from a drop down and really just passing that information over to the ATS provider and getting up and running with, again, in less than 2 weeks' time, if that. So all of these things combined into one really for us make what we believe unique to the marketplace and a unique offering to the customers like yourselves that are sitting on the call today. This is all great, I'm sure, to hear about us talk about in theory, right? What makes us great, why we're awesome. These are things that I'm sure you hear from most other organizations in the marketplace that you partner with. So we really want to kind of share just some proven outcomes to really say we have data to back up what makes us unique and all those three criteria we just shared with you. We use this data and we present it back to customers on a regular basis just to give them confidence in the impact that our assessments are making on their companies, specifically when it comes to improving their hiring efficiency. So if you're an organization today that has a lot of high volume hiring, you either have kind of are preparing for maybe coming out of COVID with a lot of roles that you're going to hire for, or you've never stopped hiring through this kind of COVID downtime, and you're preparing to really streamline that high volume hiring. Our assessment can really help you improve that efficiency through how easy it is to really send to a candidate through the ATS, get back those results, and prioritize those candidates effectively. We also can help you maximize new hire performance. So really at the core of this, we're able to tie the assessment back to actual performance and say that by using the assessment, we can drive that individual success and that bottom line and top line revenue success as well. Reduce turnover. I'm sure day in and day out, this is what your leaders are asking for you to do. We all know that turnover really can cause, can cripple an organization in some cases, especially if it's high, and it can cause really increase in costs because of what it costs to hire a new hire right out of the gate. So with our assessments, we have proven results where we can reduce that turnover, especially when it comes to reducing new hire turnover, where we see a lot of that turnover taking place. So by doing that, we're matching the right job with the right person right from go. Increased diversity. I know this has always been a really important focus for HR professionals and leaders in the marketplace. It's even more important as we kind of navigate this year and into the coming years. So by leveraging our assessments, we're really able to prove that we can reduce that unconscious bias by understanding those individuals that are right for the role and really removing that bias by collecting demographic information and showcasing how by using the assessment, you can actually improve diversity and really minimize any additional bias that would have come into the process had you not had an assessment placed into the role. And then this is where my passion comes out. So you'll probably hear an inflection in my voice, but really developing leaders. So all too often, assessments are thought about as a specific tool that you use as part of the selection process. While that's really where we position our assessments, that you're going to get the most value, we don't want to lose sight of the fact that the assessment can really help you in leveraging through the full talent life cycle. So not just using it as part of selection, but also using it on the talent management, talent mobility, and development side of the house. It can really be a tool to help both at the individual level at identifying really where they might be a match for other roles in the organization, whether it's next level up or cross-functionally. It can also be used at the group level to really understand group trends of where folks may be, call it lacking or have areas of opportunity or even areas of strength you can help to further develop to really ensure that as a team or as a department, you are moving them in the right direction to ultimately improve company performance as a whole. Here's just a snapshot of really how we've taken those proven outcomes and delivered it to some core customers to see success on the back end. These are just a few logos we want to call out to you today to show that we really have worked with a wide variety of organizations in leveraging assessments to improve their company performance, reduce turnover, and ultimately just help overall improve efficiencies within a selection or development process. BSN, Sites, and Lenovo are the three we'll call out that all three use OutMatch Assessment. Lenovo actually uses a combination of assessment and video that we'll talk about in just a second. But what's important to call out here is that all three of these, while in different industries, really have seen a benefit from using the assessment to drive sales performance in the case of BSN, to drive diversity hiring in the case of Sites, and from a Lenovo perspective, to really drive recruiting efficiencies. So by using assessment and then coupling it with our other tools. So it's important to know that assessment is a standalone great tool, but assessment, as you couple it with other modules that we have available in our toolkit now as one complete platform, really can help you drive even more results from, in this case for Lenovo, recruiters in saving time and building that efficiency, both from using the assessment to identify quality and using the video to minimize phone screens and drive those candidates who really come out on top to really get into the hands of the hiring managers. So again, keep in mind, these are just three examples, but we really pride ourselves in the fact that we have a diverse set of clients across multiple industries who, when using one module, see strong success like you see here on the screen. But by adding to those modules and using one or a combination of more than one, you really can maximize the impact to your organization as a whole. Here's just a few capabilities that we'll kind of quickly go through before I hand it over to Stacy to show us really that show and tell, so you can see where the magic happens behind the scenes in the experience of both the candidate as well as the recruiter in our reporting. But things I want to call out before we head into that demo, so you can pay attention as she's going through, are that turnkey integration again, that ability to point and click and rapidly get set up with an ATS provider. And again, we have numerous relationships that we have already done that connectivity and are available to you right within the platform. Our job library that I mentioned already, so over 900 profiles available right at your fingertips to get up, get started, and almost start using within a day or 2 days' time if you choose. Those profiles will cover both that high volume side from an hourly perspective all the way up to our leadership roles, where we actually have additional kind of layers of measurements included, knowing that those C-suite and leadership roles are highly critical to your organization as well. Our agile profile process, again, that process that we take all the heavy lift on our side, really no list on your side, but the ability for us to use data behind the scenes to further impact the assessment and customize it to what's important to you as an organization and what makes you unique. Those add-on measurements, so again, we have a culture match ability, as well as various cognitive measurements that are able and available to us to tie to that personality to get an even more comprehensive view of that candidate and their fit for the job. I get really excited about this. You can see already, data is something we're very passionate about. So for us, having in-product analytics to provide back to you at the click of a button and see on demand, how are these assessments really performing for your organization? What's going on within the applicants that have applied to these assessments? And how is this driving around volume, efficiency, and diversity within your organization? And again, this is the click of a button, so really accessible for you to look at, understand, and make decisions in the moment. And then this is, again, a piece that Stacey will spend some time on, but this way to really optimize your talent pool. So again, in product, having the ability to use those results of the candidates and understand, could they be a fit for multiple roles? So not just honing in on the one role they applied to, but could they be a fit across other positions that your recruiters are considering? Or could they be a fit as you think about next level role and you really think about really succession planning and talent reviews? And then this idea of understanding more at a group level, a department level, a team level, where there's some gaps and areas of opportunity, as well as areas of strength, that you can understand where folks are coming out on top, or you need to really hone in on to really drive the group to better outcomes and results from a development perspective. So all of these are just those core capabilities that we'll go in and really show you what this looks like, but we want you to kind of keep in mind as Stacey goes through the next part of our presentation today. With that, Stacey, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, sounds great. Let's see. Kellyanne, can you confirm, can you see my screen?
We see your inbox, it looks like, and your team.
Okay, let's see. Okay, how about now?
Perfect, Stacey.
Okay, thanks, Kellyanne, for confirming. All right, we wanted to bring you through a couple demonstrations so you can actually get a sense of the experience. So let's start first and walk you through the candidate experience. You can actually see what OutMatch Assess looks and feels like for the candidate. So what we're showing now is a self-registration page and just signing up as a sample candidate here. This is something that can be linked to from your job site. OutMatch Assess also has the ability to be integrated directly into an inline workflow. So should you want to have OutMatch Assess be part of a application process as opposed to its own standalone experience, then we have capability to address both scenarios. So in this scenario, it's really self-sign up from the candidate. They've accessed a link from your job site, and here they are signing up to take the assessment. So with first name, last name, email address, we are off to the races. Our fictional company here is called Open Lane, and what we're showing here is the opportunity to showcase your employer branding. So beyond just the logo, we have the ability to add a lovely background image that kind of sets the scene and makes this a more engaging experience. But in terms of the welcome page that you see here, the first stage of the candidate going through your survey, fully customizable text, as well as the ability to embed an image or even a video if you wanted to showcase a welcome video, even provide a realistic job preview in some cases, if you do have video from inside one of your working locations. So here we are on the landing page. I take a glance at the Open Lane employer branding and the messaging they have for me to start this assessment experience. And as I continue on, you'll see that this is really meant to be an intuitive process. So if we put instructions or guidance, the next steps are always very clear and accessible for our users. We have a progress bar at the top, which will track the user as they go on through, so they have a sense of how long the time commitment is. And looking at the survey itself, you'll see that this is a unique type of survey where we're cutting down on the ability for users to game the system. So in this scenario, we see the item stem is an open item. I'm the type of person who, and then in terms of the responses, we have 2 anchor responses to finish that statement. So for our users, they get to choose their degree of alignment to one of these 2 statements. So I'm the type of person who never forgets a deadline. I'd say I'm mostly aligned with that, but there have been a couple that have fallen off my plate. So I would respond here, and you auto advance on to the next statement. Now, the value of a type of survey like this is that you cannot easily game. There's no sense of right or wrong, because what we're actually measuring here is somebody's innate tendencies or their behavioral preferences. So it's not about getting at ethics or right or wrong for a task. It's really getting at innate tendencies. You'll see also that we have images included in the survey. This is really an engagement element. It's really to help make this experience feel more modern, to keep people engaged and wanting to see the next item. So that survey that we just walked through is a very quick 5-item survey, just to give you a sense of the candidate experience. The actual surveys themselves are longer than 5 items. As Kellyanne mentioned, they can be as short as 7 minutes for users to get through, but that's the experience they would have. The final stage is just a chance to review the responses before they submit. You can see my progress in the survey is 100% complete. Once I submit my responses, we have a thank you page, which also is customizable. You could add in your own language here. We have a default, which we're showing here, which can be overridden. You can add links, images, and videos to the thank you page as well. Really just making that a lovely experience for your candidates, making sure that they had a good interaction at this stage of their application experience. Okay, so we've just walked through the candidate survey of OutMatch Assess. Now let's switch gears a little bit and put on our recruiter hiring manager hat. Let's take a look at the actual selection report that comes out of that exercise. So I've just switched tabs. Again, we've switched roles as well. So here we are. We are no longer the candidate. Now we are the recruiter and hiring manager. The information that we have available to us for this candidate that's gone through the survey is all laid out here in this selection report. And you'll see we followed the tenets of keeping things simple, smart, and human in the way we've laid out the selection report. So first and foremost, we'll walk through these different sections, but you can see we have multiple sections of this report because we want to have layered information. Really, we're not trying to throw everything all at your recruiters and hiring managers up front. Starting with the overview page, you'll see we've taken an infographic type of approach to layering this information. So of course, on the overview, we know who the candidate is, the role that they've applied to, and when they completed that assessment. In addition to that, we have our overall score, which is the outcome of the responses they provided on the survey, as well as a verbal indication of what that score means. So 2.7 out of 5 is a fair match for this job. Now, looking down the overview information, the next section that we have is really a comparison point for other candidates who have applied to this job within the past 2 months. So here we're getting a percentile ranking. We already know that Frodo is a fair match with 2.7 out of 5, but really this next section is giving a sense of context of the other people who have applied to this same job within the past 2 months. This particular candidate scores within the 30th percentile of that pool of candidates that have come through within the past 2 months. So you really have great contextual information, not only on what a 2.7 out of 5 means, but what that means in context of the other folks that have applied to the same job within the past 2 months. So already really helpful information in terms of the strength of this candidate compared to other recent candidates. Moving on down our overview, the next piece of overview information we present are the leading strengths and potential opportunities. So of all of the personality attributes that we have measured, we're going to highlight here those attributes that showed up as being the most strong for this person. So these are the things that are going to help them in the job, as well as the opportunities. These are the things that this candidate may have to work on a little bit or be mindful of in order to be successful in the job. So that overview information is meant to give recruiters a sense of fit for the role without having to do a lot of psychological digging and analysis, interpretation. It's really meant to give that sense of who a person is and their fit to the role. Now, we don't want to stop people from doing that analytical digging, but we did separate it out into key insights. So if you choose that journey, it's totally up to you. Looking at the key insights section is where you'll get more of that trait-based psychological profile overview. So here's where we will see all of the psychological attributes or traits that we've measured. And you can actually see on an infographic type of a report where the candidate falls within the ideal range for performance and where they fall outside of the ideal range. How this is helpful is it gives you a sense of which traits are going to drive success for the role, which traits you may need to do some follow-up on to identify whether or not the candidate is aware of their standing on this trait and if they've found ways to work around it. Really, it's a sense of preparing for what type of follow-up you want to do if this candidate needs to move forward. You'll notice also following that same infographic type of approach to laying out information, anytime the candidate falls outside of the ideal range for performance based on their responses to the survey, we'll actually show their standing on that particular trait as a different color than when they are inside the ideal range. Again, trying to make it really easy and intuitive for your recruiters and hiring managers to look at this report and identify the areas where they might need to do additional follow-up with the candidate. All right, so that's our key insights section. We have a structured interview guide as well that comes with every single one of our selection reports. One of the best things about this interview guide is that it comes with embedded interview best practice and guidance. So with this embedded link, we have access to just general guidance for structured interviews, the value of them, helping to reduce the need for training, because we understand that interviews can get unwieldy, they can get very personal, and they can be very subjective. So we're trying to take the subjectivity out of there by embedding interview best practice tips to help your greener recruiters become better interviewers. Moving down the interview guide, we have configurable opening questions. So what I mean by configurable is we have default opening questions that help to break the ice and get into the behavioral questions of the interview. But these can be configured and overwritten. You can create your own opening questions if there are starter questions you'd like to standardize across your interviews. Of the tools that we have available in the interview guide, we also have competency questions. So for each of the competencies that are specific for success in this job, we're going to have 2 competency-based interview questions. So you really have your pick of the litter for each of these key competencies in terms of what type of interview questions would you like to ask to follow up and understand that candidate's understanding and past behavior specific to that competency. Now, perhaps most importantly, we do have dynamic follow-up questions that are driven based on the results of the survey. So in the areas where the candidate has fallen outside of the match area, we're going to deliver those dynamic interview questions that really help you dig in and understand the candidate's awareness as well as their ability to work with that. We even provide listen for statements. So as you're digging into some of these out of range aspects for a candidate, we're giving guidance on what to listen for. So you can understand what a good response is really structured like. Okay, one more component. I know we are coming close to time here. we have the ability to optimize our candidate pool and see if this candidate would fit better against other open jobs within the organization. So using our Succeed tool, right, available on the selection report, I can actually take Frodo's scores and run them against another open job to see if he might be a better fit for that role. In this way, we can optimize our candidate pool. We can perhaps redirect our candidate to a better fit role for them. And this could even be used internally for career pathing. So a lot of great uses for these tools. And on that note, I know we are up against our demo time. So I would just like to invite Kellyanne or Brianna to provide the closing for this demo.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Stacy. Thank you, Kellyanne. I'm so glad we were able to walk through some of the favorite features. I mean, these are the things clients tell us that they love the most about OutMatch Assessment. So I'm glad we were able to show that to you today. When I close the webinar out here in just a second, you're going to get a survey pop up on your screen asking you if you want to learn more or if you want to try out OutMatch Assessment in some way for free. So answer that survey question for us. And we will follow up. And if you have any questions following our session today, you can reply to the follow-up email you're going to get from me or reach out to your client success manager. Thank you so much, everyone.